JKB back with another episode. Today in the show, I'm reviewing Monster Hunter World. Thank you so much to OldManDan who supplied a review copy of the game to the show. He's a fellow YouTuber. He has a cool show that he does with his son. Linking the underbar to OldManDan. Thank you, Dan. Let's get into the review of Monster Hunter World. This technically isn't the first time I've played a Monster Hunter game. I remember trying it on the Wii and almost putting it down immediately out of sheer frustration. Monster Hunter World is an action role-playing game in which you take the role of a hunter. Your job is to hunt down and either kill or trap monsters that roam in different environments. You're rewarded with loot consisting of parts of the monster and other elements used to craft weapons and armor. The core gameplay loop essentially has you doing the same thing over and over. Your job is to get better gear by hunting more difficult monsters, which in turn provide better parts for the crafting of the gear. You're able to hunt alone or with 4 players online via the online features. The idea of Monster Hunter is kind of a simple idea. You're a hunter, you go out there, you loot a lot, and you come back to the hub and you sell it, or you craft, or you decide that you want to keep the same weapon, or you want to switch it up, and you just head back out to the killing fields. That's it. That's hunting. That's what it's supposed to be, right? How much fun is this? The most fun I've had all year. Could this be a contender for Game of the Year 2018? Yeah, it can be. Can it also be in the top 5 games of all time on my personal list? Well, yeah, it is. So let me get to the point here, why I feel that way. Now, story-wise, you've arrived at a new world, which is an unpopulated landmass filled with monsters, and you've joined a research commission team whose job it is to kind of study these monsters and figure out what they're there for. As soon as you're finished the 3rd storyline mission, you kind of forget about that story, and you kind of just want to go back into the field and hunt. That's how addictive the gameplay is. You'll launch all of your hunting missions from the main world hub, where you can buy items and sell items, you can manage your inventory, you can craft new items, and you can figure out what you want to do next, all from this main world hub. If I was to explain every single feature of this game, the review would be 4 hours long. So my goal is to essentially give you the essence of what it feels like to play this game. I will get into detail of course, of how the gameplay feels and how it feels to change up the 14 different weapons, but this version of Monster Hunter has changed a few of the usual gameplay mechanics with a more easy to understand system. Yet at times, you'll feel confused on exactly what you need to do next or what you should do next. The level of depth in terms of the hunting, crafting, and looting is absurd in this game. And because it's so absurd, but put together in a way that's so addictive, you will not want to stop playing this game. It's a loop that you just can't get out of. And in terms of the depth, it just keeps going. The higher level you get, the more you can do. The more you can do with your armor. The more leveling up of the armor itself, the more stat, bonuses you can put on your armor. It's just, it's a never-ending cycle of pure joy. When you first set out into the world to hunt, you'll have the choice to bring your sidekick along with you. Now, these sidekicks are known as Polyco, and I think I'm saying that right, but they resemble cats. And I created mine to look like my personal cat, Jump Jump. You can equip different weapons and armor that you've crafted the same way you can do as your hunter on the cats themselves. When I realized I could create Jump Jump in the game, it was such an amazing moment. I was live streaming at the time and everybody lost their shit. When I actually created the real Jump Jump in game, it brought me to a whole new personal level. The idea of now I'm playing the game with my actual cat was just splendid. There are 14 main categories for weapons that you can use in your quest to hunt the monsters. You've got light weapons such as dual blades, long swords, and sword and shield. You also have heavy weapons such as the great sword, gun lancers, hammers, and a lance. You've got technical weapons such as a charge blade, a hunting horn, and even a weapon that has, I'm going to explain this to you, has the ability to shoot some sort of spray goo out the front of it that attracts a giant beetle that will attack your enemy. Yeah, I just said that. The weapons in this game are so different from one another that even the idea of replayability is like mind-blowing, because you have 14 different weapons that can be expanded through the upgrade system forever. You'll be playing the game forever, and you'll be enjoying it forever. There's over 45 different monsters, both big and small, for you to capture and kill in the game. Now, the strategy of these monsters changes up every single time you face a new one. You might face something that's a giant lizard that has the ability to shoot fire out of its mouth. You might face something that looks like a peacock mixed with a lizard or a gecko. And you might fight a giant dragon that will murder you within seconds. The point here is, there's a lot of people that are going to be very frustrated with the different animal types. And I think there's a lot of people that are going to be frustrated trying to defeat these monsters and not quite understanding it. And that's where I have to say that the game does have a steep learning curve, but it's all about that gameplay. Once you understand how to use the different weapons, like I said, there's 14 of them, then you will feel like you've got the power. The point of this is, the gameplay loop is solid. The monsters' strategy and patterns are unexpected. Like, I can't say that enough, guys. You have no idea what's kind of gonna happen next. At some point, I saw two of the monsters go at it. I've seen a monster run after another sort of dinosaur in front of me as I was bashing the shit out of his tail, and he fucking ate another monster to gain some of his health back. Like, I've seen things in this that are just mind-blowing. This isn't just another video game to play on the weekend. This demands some serious dedication. But once you've figured out how to play the game, you'll get a sense of accomplishment that you won't get in any other game. Let's go over the pros and cons. I'm going to start with the cons. The multiplayer matchmaking is very, very confusing to set up. I'm not even going to explain it in this review. Let's just say that you have to get past the third mission to be able to unlock multiplayer online. I'm sure you can find a tutorial on how to do that online. I do have to say that is a con. The next one is, on the Xbox One X, there's a compression problem with the music that causes the tone to shift up and down. So to explain that in layman's terms, you might be hearing a note such as this pitch here, and it'll go ee, and all of a sudden the music will go ee, like it sounds like it's a record player slowing down. That's, I mean, unacceptable. That has to be fixed. And lastly, on the con list, I'm playing on my Xbox One X. The 4K support on the Xbox One X doesn't look that great. For the first time ever, I can say that the PlayStation Pro version apparently is looking better than this. I did look it up online. I did a little research on that. I'm just stating on what I found out. What's the better version? I don't know. I'm playing on Xbox One X, and even with subpar 4K, it still does look spectacular. Now let's get into the pros of the game. The first one has to be how incredibly deep and rewarding this gameplay is. The idea of taking down a monster in its own right is something very hard to pull off for a developer out there, because it involves so many different mechanics, so many moving parts, and somehow Capcom have come together to create something that's so rewarding. The gameplay is so over-the-top rewarding that you're addicted instantly. The game is so beautiful and varied in its worlds that you'll want to explore every nook and cranny of all of it. You want to see all the monsters, even the bigger and the smaller ones. You'll want to loot absolutely everything that's around you, such as a bush that might have poison in it, so don't cut it. You have to actually loot it opposed to cutting it. That's like, I can go on and on about the level of detail in here, but it's ridiculous. Every monster has a different pattern that you'll need to study before you can take that monster on. That's one of the best elements of the game. To go in there and fail is okay. To go in there after with upgraded armor and kick that, giant squid's ass is so rewarding. At this point in the review, it'd be so simple for me to go 9 out of 10, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. But at the end of the video, that's kind of exactly what I'm going to do. But I feel it's very important to say something about my opinion of the game. I could say Monster Hunter World is a slow to start grind that doesn't go out of its way to help you understand how to even play the game itself. It just kind of dumps you in this environment and dumps new feature after new feature on your head with a screen of text tutorials that do nothing to really help you grasp the wide picture of what the game is about. Like I said, the game isn't just another video game. The core gameplay loop payoff is what it's all about. The combat with the monsters is where this game is most just cherished. If that combat wasn't as good as it was here, I wouldn't be raving about how good this game really is. I'm able to overlook the poorly designed user interface because the core gameplay loops are spectacular. People are comparing the gameplay to Dark Souls, a comparison that's pissing a lot of people off. But I feel that it's a fair comparison to make for the people out there that just want something to relate with. At the end of the day, this game isn't for everybody, but if you love deep-rooted RPGs that give you a sense of an incredible accomplishment, then Monster Hunter World is the game for you. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It is a must-play for anybody that likes RPGs that are based in the action of fighting giant monsters. There's nothing like it out there, and I'm so pleased to say that this is in my top 5 games of all time now, and it is definitely a Game of the Year contender that I will be playing all year. Thank you so much for watching this episode of JKB, and I'll see you in the next episode of JKB.